चक्रवर्ती प्रभु मेरा बहुत प्रिय मित्र है। ये बार ने मुझको जो दो चीज गिफ्ट किया है, मुझको दो चीज यूज करना पड़ेगा। एक है चप्पल बहुत कीमती वाला चप्पल है, और है कि ब्लैंकेट जो ठंडी के दिन में बहुत जरूरी है। और इतना लाइट है, मुझे हमेशा हर जगह कैरी करता हूँ, इसलिए रोज उनके याद आते हैं। तो और
याद
जब
महाराज।
जीवन में आते हैं वो बहुत, हाँ, बहुत
मैं बोल
अच्छे।
रहा हूँ आप याद करते हैं इसीलिए मेरा थोड़ा चैंटिंग हो पा रहा है।
तो आपको समय नहीं लेते हुए आप, हाँ, आप आगे। थैंक यू फॉर कमिंग दिस सेशन।
हरे कृष्णा। So I've been instructed to go through this or take you through the brief introduction of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and then as scheduled after 15 minutes there's a lecture which is to be played of Maharaj. So Maharaj was, Maharaj appeared on 14th of August 1944 as per the English calendar, and the Tithi was Annadaya Ekadashi. So this is after Janmashtami, 2 3 days after Janmashtami, sometime 2 days, sometime 3 days. After Janmashtami is Ekadashi, that is where we celebrate his appearance day. The place where he appeared was New Delhi, and his parents, as you can see the picture, Maharaj is with his father and two sisters, mother, grandmother, and father in the navy dress. Maharaj's father was in Indian Navy, and his name was Shriman Ananda Swarup Khanna, and mother was Shrimati Savitri Khanna. And Maharaj's name everyone knows. Earlier also was Sri Gopal Krishna Khanna. So when Prabhupada initiated him, Prabhupada said, "Your already name is Krishna's name, so you will be now onwards called as Gopal Krishna Das." So, and Maharaj was initiated in the through the letter. Prabhupada had no time, and they would travel all over the world. Anybody initiate many devotees through letters, through phone. So Maharaj got initiation through letter. What I've heard, Maharaj's grandfather was in Pakistan. Earlier it was India, and he was so super rich. His grandfather was so super rich that his building, the foundation was made up of gold. There were golden bricks. And now also, someone told me from Pakistan that building is still there, and that is the National Bank now. Maharaj's grandfather house is a bank. You can understand, 100 years old building still solid. So that is there. And Maharaj's father, uh, when he was only 18 years old, so Maharaj's grandfather gifted him a car known as Aston Headache. And that time, when Maharaj's father was 18 years old, he got this car. That time I heard this car, there were only three such cars in the entire world. So we can understand from which family he belongs to. And you see the picture how he is, as simple as he was 4 years old when this picture was taken, the previous picture. Maharaj is 4 years old. So and you can see Maharaj's father, they look very similar as father and son. So that is how some background. And then Maharaj, after he studied he was, he took birth in Delhi. And then for his school education, he came to Mumbai. His father was a Navy officer or army officer, I think Navy. So his father got heart attack in early age, and his health was not good. So then his father shifted, and they were staying in Santa Cruz. He had his business. So that time, Maharaj was 4 years old, and the family shifted to Bombay, and he was studying in Sacred Heart School. That school is still there. So once I went there a few years ago before COVID for Gita contest, we were going to different schools. So then I approached this school also. So then I told in the evening, I said, Maharaj, I went to Sacred Heart School. He said, oh, that's my school. I studied there. I said, I know. He said, so what response? I said, Maharaj, we reached a little late. Maharaj said, very Kattar school, very orthodox. They are hardcore Christian school. They not allow all this. And I saw many posters in the school that Saturday come to church, Sunday come to church. Still, they are very orthodox. So we couldn't do that Gita contest. And then when Maharaj completed his schooling, so Maharaj's uncle, he requested Maharaj's father that why don't you send Gopal to Delhi for further studies, a college, graduation. We don't have son. And he's like our son, so if he'll stay with us, we'll also be happy. So please send him. Maharaj was sent to Delhi. He completed his graduation there. And then Maharaj was very intelligent and also very nice student. So he got scholarship from Paris, Sorbonne University, Paris. And he went for his higher education to Paris on scholarship, not on management seat, not by paying money. He got scholarship. He completed that, then he shifted to Canada and he started working. So that is where he got another scholarship, and he got into a Montreal, it's McGill University, Montreal. McGill University is one of the universities where Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in 1896, the year Prabhupada appeared on this planet, the same year Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sent 100 copies of this book called Lord Chaitanya, His Precept and Teachings to 100 top universities of the world. And one of the universities he sent was McGill University, Montreal, where Maharaj studied. So after some time, Maharaj was studying also and working also. He worked for 2 or 3 companies. The third was the PepsiCo. So then that is the time when he met. Prabhu, you can go to the next slide. That is the time when he met Srila Prabhupada, 1968. He was working as a manager for PepsiCo. So, and he was a very high post. He was at a high post. He was having his own car. And Prabhupada writes a letter. Prabhupada tells his disciple that, Gopal is having his own office and own car. In those days, 60s, to have your own office given by a company, you need to have that prestigious position. We can understand. He had his own office. Now also you don't get office so easily. That time also was very difficult. And that is the time where he met Prabhupada. So 31st May, Maharaj was already connected to ISKCON. He was coming in 1968 because coming from a very pious background, Maharaj used to visit different gurdwaras in Canada or temples. Then finally he came to ISKCON also. So he started interacting with devotees. So then the first interaction Maharaj had with some of the Prabhupada disciples went very long. The Prabhupada disciple became very overwhelmed seeing that some Indian boy has come. He started preaching. And Maharaj was humble, so he would keep listening. So then finally, it was 1.5 hours. And Maharaj told us later that, don't preach to boys for so much elongated time. They will not come again. When I was preached for 1.5 hours, I decided I'm not coming to this temple. They preach so much. So Maharaj decided not to come. But then he thought that they talk sense. They started coming regularly. And then he came to know Srila Prabhupada is arriving, because Prabhupada in 1968, he came here, stayed in Montreal for 2 months because of his visa issue. American government, American means USA government said that no more visa extension, go out of the country. So then disciples thought, where to go, where to go? Okay, we'll go to Canada. So cross over to Canada, and Montreal is there already. That time there were only three centers: Montreal, San Francisco, and New York. So Prabhupada came. So Maharaj asked the disciples, is there any service I can do for Prabhupada? It was on 31st May 1968. So then disciples said, oh, why don't you clean the room? Prabhupada will be staying in this room. And then Maharaj cleaned the entire room, shining. The next day when Prabhupada came, on 1st June 1968, that is the time when Maharaj met Prabhupada first time. And this uh, Prakata Leela. So Maharaj always used to say that, I got service first, and then I met my spiritual master. And after that, uh, within a year, 27th May 1968, Maharaj got initiation. There are many things, but we don't have time to tell about how initiation and how his parents. I'll tell you one thing. Maharaj's father from India, he understood that he's going to ISKCON, even though ISKCON was not known in India, but Maharaj's family understood that he's going to sadhus, he may become a sadhu. They were scared. So that's always there. So even in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, we see, don't associate too much with sadhus. Mothers and fathers would tell their sons, and still same things. What is the use? Even though parents keep telling, sadhus are creating more sadhus. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, his brother Vishwarup took sannyas. So no effect. Sadhus will not leave their dharma of making other people as sadhus. So that's going on. So Maharaj's father wrote to Prabhupada, please leave my son. Whatever you say, I will do. So Prabhupada replied, okay, I will leave your son. You come and join me. And then Prabhupada was laughing and he was telling Maharaj that your father sent me a letter and I replied this. So then finally initiation happened on 27th May 1968, and Prabhupada sent a letter. Your name is already Gopal Krishna. So I'll just add Das. So now your name is Sriman Gopal Krishna Das. So that is where he got initiation, and he wanted to come to India. So Prabhupada said, you can stay here and serve, but still you desire to go to India. This is this services. This is a long letter. How you should preach in Bombay and Delhi to youths, and first service. Second was you should construct many temples in India, especially in big cities. And Maharaj did that. Maharaj did youth preaching, did constructed temples, more than 200 temples in his lifetime. He constructed all over the world. And then Prabhupada also told Maharaj that you should translate books into Indian languages, and multiple languages. You cannot say just Hindi, but multiple languages. So many instructions. But Maharaj did not come that time, and he was engaged there. He became secretary also. And when Maharaj was working, he would get all the money, whatever salary he would get, he would give it to Prabhupada. 100%. Not even a penny he would keep for himself. So then he gave to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada will take some money from that and give to Maharaj. This is your pocket money. Prabhupada would give pocket money because Maharaj surrendered everything. So he needs something. And that pocket money Maharaj will send to India to his mother that this is my salary. And how would Maharaj manage? He said, company is giving me office, company is giving me transportation, I'm staying in temple, eating in temple. I don't need any money. So practically earning so much, he has no money. And when he was initiated, Maharaj became first disciple, Indian disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So first Indian disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And then so many services he took for Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada once, many things. I don't know, time is up already. So Prabhupada came to Bombay, and Maharaj came in front, and Prabhupada kind of little bit chastised him. Where is the book? I told you to translate books, print books. Where is the book? And Maharaj is a little bit not happy that he is not making his spiritual master happy, so he was not happy. So then Maharaj took a vow that whenever Prabhupada is coming and I'm meeting him, I'll present him a new book. And he did that. Whenever Prabhupada would come to Bombay, Maharaj would bring new books. And once Maharaj sold 3 Bhagavatam sets in one day. It was a big score. So Prabhupada was so happy. And Maharaj came and Prabhupada immediately said, I want to give you something. And Prabhupada pulled his drawer and so many watches and other things. And Prabhupada said to Maharaj, take anyone you like. Maharaj said, no, Prabhupada, this is my service for you. You have given me shelter, I don't want anything else. You take. He said, no. And Prabhupada picked up one watch and gave to Maharaj. And that became the most famous watch, which we have seen so many times. So now that watch is in the vintage collection, crores of rupees worth. That watch still is functioning. And Maharaj wrote in the will that has to be gifted to one of his disciples, Vedvyas Prabhu in Delhi. And then after Prabhupada passed away, ups and downs were happening. Maharaj was one who came together with his own Samal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and his own Japitacha Maharaj, kind of kept this con together. 1981, he took sannyas, Gaur Purnima, and 1982 Gaur Purnima, he started giving initiation. So he became Diksha Guru in 1982. So, Maharaj, what to do now? I was told 15 minutes, so you guide me, what should I do? Shall I
cover within 1 minute? We will hear his lecture.
Yes, yes. So this all you can read. Maharaj, okay, we can. Maharaj is the only personality actually, if you see, who was made GPC for entire India. Actually, once I asked Maharaj, Maharaj said no. Prabhupada told me for entire Asia, but it is not much recorded. We have to search entire Asia, and nobody in the history has become GBC for entire India, and nobody else will get, because now India is so big, not in terms of land, in terms of reaching. So he was alone GBC for India in 1975. And then 1977, he became bureau chairman. When Prabhupada passed, Prabhupada told Maharaj that you become the bureau chairman. And Maharaj left this world with that tag of bureau chairman, ISKCON India bureau chairman. So whatever services Prabhupada gave, he completed. And so many things. And maybe we'll share one video later. You can see that video, 10 minutes introduction video. So he took all the services, expanded the mission to all over the world. Wherever there was a problem, was first call from all over the world will come to Maharaj. And now many leaders are telling me, I've been traveling, that so much, we are missing Maharaj, especially managers and leaders are missing. Because anything, they just pick up the phone, call Maharaj, and Maharaj will somehow do some magic, as if he had some magic wand, abracadabra. And then the problem is solved. The Bhagavad Gita was banned all over Russia, and then Indian government interfered. Then ISKCON Bhagavad Gita was banned. So Maharaj spoke with the president, prime minister, and all that, and got lifted. The ban was lifted. So that is how so many things he preached in so many countries. Next. Yes. Translation of books. His pranam mantra includes DVD. So Maharaj appeared in 1944, the year in which Prabhupada started his first book, Back to Godhead. Prabhupada's first book came in 1944, and Maharaj appeared in the same year. I asked Maharaj that this is, look, there is some connection. Maharaj said that. Obviously, out of his humility, he said there is no connection. Yes, Prabhu, next. We have to. So this we have seen 200 temples, 200 plus temples globally, and all these projects are large. If you see the history of ISKCON after Maharaj became GBC Guru and active, from that time, all the top 10 temples in book distribution, all the top 10 temples are Maharaja's own. All temples, be it Mayapur, GBC for Mayapur, be it Juhu, Ahmedabad, Delhi, Punjabi Bagh, Pune, Russia, all the top 10 temples, if you see from last 20 years, they are his own. So his pranam mantra also is about book distribution. Yes, next. So this we have seen how there's a lot of stories. And Maharaj is noted for his humility and personal engagement with the Lord. When Guru Prasad Maharaj came, and after Maharaj left, and he spent time in Delhi to understand. He said it is very difficult, almost impossible for me to understand one temple. And Maharaj was dealing with so many hundreds of temples because the way Maharaj used to deal, he would interact with each and every devotee, right from GBC to New Bhakta. Personally, alone, he would interact. He would love to interact with devotees. And everyone is feeling that vacuum in their life because of so much interaction. Next 1 minute I have, then I think it's yeah, BBT chairman and trustee, always been there. So these are last instruction will of from extracted from the will of Maharaj. We see the first instruction. When I was reading this, always accept His divine grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, the preeminent Shiksha Guru of all time, always accept ISKCON's GBC as ultimate management authority. Lead your life so as to be exemplary representative of ISKCON. When I read these instructions, immediately I remember His Holiness Bhakti Swami. Same instructions. They are dedicated, powerful, surrendered soldiers of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. All instructions are coming later. You see 4 instructions related to ISKCON. So third instruction. 4th is cooperate with all other ISKCON devotees to push the move. It is all about ISKCON. And then comes when you are authorized, take service. Look at the last one. Never align yourself with persons or groups not authorized by GBC. That is the meaning of GBC is the ultimate managing authority. Yeah. And then comes individual instruction of chanting 16 rounds, 25 rounds in Ekadashi, following 4 letter principles. Work to make ISKCON a dynamic society. He was a dynamic person. He would mend and flex, very flexible, very flexible. And last but not the least, continue donating your time and resources to ISKCON's causes. It's all about ISKCON. Prabhupada's disciples are always about ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada always admired the qualities of Maharaj of head and heart, and once he remarked, Gopal is a very nice boy and he must be encouraged. It was in US. And then one of the later Prabhupada said, whatever ISKCON has done in India, whatever we have achieved in India, it is all because of Gopal. Prabhupada wrote a letter. 75, Maharaj came to India, and by 76, 77, Prabhupada was writing, whatever we have achieved in India, it's all credit goes to Gopal. So we are all dedicated, powerful men of Sri Prabhupada. So I'm very grateful to His Holiness Bhakti Prema Swami Maharaj, who says that I'm his friend, but I would love to become servant of a servant. But this is because of his great qualities. If you consider the friendly attitude he has towards me, will help me, and he's given me an opportunity to glorify my spiritual master in front of all of you. So thank you very much, Maharaj. When I saw you wearing jacket and this cap and all that, I just wanted to say, come to Bombay, give us your association, and the weather is so amazing here. We are still taking cold water bath.
By hearing your lecture, We are not feeling cold now.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.
By hearing this, you have increased our eagerness for hearing more about him and other Prabhupada disciples also.
All are selected gems, chosen. But this amazing program you started, Maharaj. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful program. I mean, this will become a repository, and I think everyone, because now gradually we only have the memories of Srila Prabhupada disciples. Thank you. Wonderful initiative.
If we don't know them, we are ungrateful. Sound is not coming. Are you playing this?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I'm sharing it once again.
Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam.
Sound is again gone.
Ram Ram Hare Hare. So, Nityananda Prabhu had predicted that this chanting and dancing would spread to every town and village of the world. And Prabhupada says that if we are sincerely following the rules and regulations, then our attempt to preach Krishna consciousness will be successful. In other words, the ability to preach Krishna consciousness is dependent upon the purification, and the purification that one realizes is based upon the degree to which it sincerely follows the rules and regulations. So the expansion of the Krishna conscious movement all over the world is a realization of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction, which is also confirmed by Nityananda Prabhu in this verse. And in order to keep expanding the Krishna conscious movement, because it was the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that this Krishna consciousness be established in every town and village of the world. Of course, right now, we do have devotees traveling through different towns and villages of the world. But certainly, we do not have a permanent Krishna conscious center in every town and village of the world. So the point is, we still have a huge goal to realize. So to realize this goal of spreading Krishna consciousness to every town and village of the world, the devotees have to purify themselves of all material desires. Just like we all like to wear clean clothes, and when the clothes are dirty, you want to get rid of the dirt. Similarly, the devotee should be anxious to keep his heart clean. And when the unclean or impure desires do enter the heart, with the assistance of the spiritual knowledge, one should cleanse the heart so that he can relish the process of devotional service. Seeing that it was already getting late, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, the spiritual master, invented the means to disperse the crowd. As I said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is now traveling in South India with his devotees. And thou, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, had expressed a desire that he wanted to travel all alone he accepted the request of his devotees. His devotees requested him, if you go alone, you may get robbed by some thieves and rogues. They were giving so many excuses to justify that Lord Chaitanya should not travel alone. This is explained in the Bhagavatam how the Lord enjoys this very unique relationship with the devotee. The Lord is anxious to serve the devotee inasmuch as the devotee is anxious to serve the Lord. The devotee is anxious to feed the prasadam to the Lord, and the Lord is anxious to feed the prasadam back to the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas. The devotee takes pleasure when he serves the Lord, and the Lord feels indebted to the devotee for serving him, because through the medium of service of the devotee, the transcendental qualities of the Lord are amplified. The transcendental qualities of the Lord become more prominent when the devotee serves the Lord. So the Lord becomes indebted to the devotee for amplifying, for bringing out his transcendental qualities. So Lord Chaitanya also, when he was requested by his devotees to take others with him, he agreed. When Lord Nityananda Prabhu took Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for lunch at noon, everyone came running around them. After finishing their baths, they returned at noon to the temple. Admitting his own men, Sri Nityananda Prabhu closed the outside door. Gopinath Acharya then brought prasad for the two lords to eat. And after they ate, the remnants of the food were distributed to all the devotees. Hearing about this, everyone there came to the outside door and began chanting the holy name, Hare Hare. There was a tumultuous sound. After lunch, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made them open the door. In this way, everyone received his audience with great pleasure. The people came and went until evening, and all of them became Vaishnava devotees and began to chant and dance. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then passed the night there and discussed the pastimes of Krishna with his devotees with great pleasure. So, this is the desire of the Lord and the devotees, to always discuss the transcendental pastimes of Krishna. The devotee never gets tired of discussing these transcendental pastimes. Parikshit Maharaj was hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, and while hearing the Bhagavatam, even his hunger and thirst disappeared. And he went on telling Shukadeva Goswami, please describe more of these transcendental qualities. Just like when you're eating prasadam and the prasad's very nicely cooked, everyone's saying, give me a second serving, a third serving, a fourth serving, isn't it? In fact, if it's very nicely cooked, you run out of it in no time. So similarly, the devotee is always anxious to get more and more servings of transcendental sound. This transcendental sound is a real food for the devotee, and he relishes by hearing this transcendental sound. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was day and night discussing the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. Prabhupada often used to emphasize that all the devotees should read his books. And Prabhupada used to say that even I am reading these books every day. So Prabhupada wrote all the purports to these books, and he himself used to read them every day. So we should mold our spiritual lives in such a manner that we derive pleasure in discussing the pastimes of Krishna. And if we derive pleasure in discussing these pastimes of Krishna, then this will result in the purification of the heart. We see over here that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was discussing and performing some kirtan with his devotees, people would come from a distance to look at his Samkirtan movement. And just by looking at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Samkirtan movement, they would all become Vaishnavas. And they would also begin to chant and dance. So we have to develop the spiritual qualities which will be reflected in our dealings, so that with our purity we can attract others to Krishna consciousness also. So this is our standard of happiness. Our standard of happiness is the discussion of Krishna conscious topics, the discussion of the different spiritual pastimes of the Lord. And discussing the spiritual pastimes of the Lord, we will derive great happiness. When we meet each other, we should ask the devotee we meet, what did you read yesterday? Or what did you read this morning? And force the other devotee also to get into a discussion about the different pastimes. We should test each other's advancement by seeing the extent to which he is delighting in discussing this Krishna Katha, and the extent to which he is exhibiting the Krishna conscious qualities that we often discuss. The next morning, after taking his bath, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started on his South Indian tour. He bid farewell to the devotees by embracing them. Although they all fell to the ground unconscious, the Lord did not turn to see them but proceed onward. This is the unique relationship of the Lord and the devotees. The devotee does not want to part from the Lord even for a minute. The gopis were accusing Brahma, the creator. Why? Because the eyes blink. And the gopis were upset that this prevents them from constantly staring at the beautiful form of Krishna. So the devotees here are feeling sad that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is leaving their association. The devotees of the Lord always wanted to be with the Lord in Jagannath Puri. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu still forced them to go out and travel and preach. In fact, the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would look for different excuses to stay back in Jagannath Puri. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them no, to stay out and only come back to Jagannath Puri once a year. He just wanted them to come once a year on the occasion of the Rath Yatra. So the devotee associates with the Lord by associating with his spiritual instructions. When the devotee is associating with the spiritual instructions of the spiritual master and Krishna, then actually the devotee is living with him. And otherwise, the devotee may be next to the spiritual master. He may be right in front of the deity of Krishna. But if in his mind, he is thinking about sense gratification, then what is the value of that physical association? So what is important is the mental association with the words of the spiritual master and Krishna. In separation, the Lord became very perturbed and walked on unhappily. His servant Krishna Das was carrying his water pot, followed behind. Almost like a lion, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went on his tour filled with ecstatic love and performing some kirtan, chanting Krishna's name as follows. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Raksha Mam. Krishna, 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 Pahi Mam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Raksha Mam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahi Mam. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting these names of Krishna. How many devotees know this prayer? We should make it part of the Bhakti program to also teach. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting this prayer with his devotees all along. The translation of this is, O Lord Krishna, please protect me and maintain me. And O Lord Rama, descendant of King Raghu, please protect me. O Krishna, O Keshava, killer of the Keshi demon, please maintain me. The devotee is completely dependent upon Krishna. He depends upon Krishna for maintenance. He depends upon Krishna for protection. And in comparison, the materialists are always depending upon some material arrangement for protection and maintenance. Just like the different countries on the planet, they're busy building very powerful armies. Why? Because they are thinking that these armies will protect the people of the country. And the materialist is also thinking that unless I make some money, I will not be able to maintain myself. And even within the Krishna conscious devotees, sometimes we see that there is this dangerous mood that I must have a little bit of stash on the side. I must have a little bit of money for my protection. Then when we rely on these material means for our protection, we have to understand that we are beginning to deviate from Krishna. Our philosophy is to be completely dependent upon Krishna for our maintenance and protection. Krishna will provide. Some may argue back and say that this is theoretical, but it's not theoretical. There is enough evidence in the Vedic scriptures to show that Krishna will always protect his devotees. Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashati. My devotee will never perish. Prahlad Maharaj was attacked very vigorously by his demonic father and his agents, but Prahlad was always protected. Haridas Thakur was also attacked, but he was always protected. And the Pandavas were also inconvenienced, but they were always protected. Queen Kunti was also protected. So we have to have faith that Krishna will protect us. And Krishna will protect us in proportion to our surrender to him. If we are surrendered to Krishna with our thought, word, actions, body, then Krishna will protect us. And if our dependence upon Krishna is theoretical or verbal and not from the inner core of the heart, then of course the protection would also be in the same degree. We have to depend upon Krishna from the inner core of your heart. From the inner core of our heart, we have to desire Krishna. If we do not desire Krishna from the inner core of our heart, then we will begin to take shelter of the so-called means of sense gratification for our satisfaction. The devotee derives complete protection by depending upon Krishna. This is the symptom of spiritual advancement, that he is convinced that only Krishna can satisfy me, only Krishna can protect me. And hence, he is completely dependent upon the process of devotional service for finding satisfaction. Why does the materialist not surrender to Krishna? Because he is doubtful about Krishna's ability to satisfy him. And because he is doubtful of Krishna's ability to satisfy him, he will take shelter of some other means to find their happiness. So we have to plant this thought firmly within our heart. At the present moment, due to our past conditioning, in the inner core of our heart, there is the desire for sense gratification. Therefore, whenever there is the desire, whenever there is the opportunity for sense gratification, we take full advantage of it. But it says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the devotee must plant Krishna in the inner core of his heart. Deep down in the heart also, our desire should be to please Krishna. And if that is a desire, then that's an exhibition of our understanding that we are depending upon Krishna. If we depend upon Krishna, then we will have the strength to face all type of situations and turbulences with a peaceful mind. And if we do not depend upon Krishna, then this will be reflected in agitated mind. This will be reflected in material desires bothering us. And this will ultimately result in our physically engaging in satisfying these material desires. If you're contemplating something, you're bound to satisfy that thought. There is no two ways about it. If you're contemplating sense enjoyment, then you will force yourself into that sooner or later. Therefore, from the very inception, we should not contemplate sense gratification. Chanting this verse, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, known as Gaur Hari, went on his way As soon as he saw someone, he could request him to chant Hari Hari. Whoever heard Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chant Hari Hari also chanted the holy name of the Lord Hari and Krishna. In this way, they all followed the Lord, very eager to see him. So very often in our preaching, we meet people who say, have you seen God? Isn't it? And we say, no, we're not desirous. But sometimes we also say, yes, we have seen God. So how do you reconcile the two different answers? Because the devotee sees God through the medium of his service. When you're serving Krishna, you're actually seeing Krishna. And the devotee is always anxious to see Krishna. Just like over here it said they all followed the Lord and they were eager to see him. So we are eager to see Krishna through our service. Therefore, we are eager to serve Krishna. Because through this service of Krishna, we are actually seeing him. And seeing Krishna means experiencing spiritual ecstasy. And who doesn't want ecstasy? Who doesn't want to be happy? Everybody wants to be happy. Everyone wants to taste the spiritual ecstasy. So we should be anxious to see Krishna, and the medium of seeing Krishna is through the medium of service. And the devotee in executing service is always humble. Haridas Thakur, when he was offered prasadam by Advaita Acharya, after doing an offering, he first offered the prasadam to Haridas. And Haridas, out of humility, said, I'm a Muslim. Why are you offering this prasad to the Mahamdan first? Go and offer it to the Brahmanas. And Advaita Acharya said, feeding you is equal to feeding 1 lakh Brahmins. Therefore, I'm going to feed you first. But the point here is that Haridas Thakur, now he was chanting his holy names. How many times a day? Who knows? 3 lakh times a day. He was chanting. Still, when Advaita Acharya first offered him the prasad, he said, no, don't offer it to me. Offer it to the others. And Advaita Acharya said, no. So the devotee, even though he's anxious to see the Lord through the medium of service, nevertheless, he maintains his humility in the execution of devotional service. And if he loses his humility in executing devotional service, then he loses sight of the spiritual vision. We should never lose sight of the spiritual goal that we have to accomplish. And the goal that we have to accomplish is the realization of Krishna consciousness in this very life. Prabhupada used to say, do not be a burden on the spiritual master and Krishna. At the end of this life, go back to Godhead. And that will only be possible if we execute Krishna consciousness seriously in this life. After some time, the Lord would embrace these people and bid them to return home after investing them with spiritual potency. In his Amrita Prabhava Bhashya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that this spiritual potency is the essence of the pleasure potency and eternity potency. But these two potencies, one is empowered with devotional service. Lord Krishna himself, or his representative, the unalloyed devotee, can mercifully bestow these combined potencies upon any man. Being thus endowed with such potency, one can become an unalloyed devotee of the Lord. So, anybody can get empowered to become a preacher of Krishna consciousness. In order to become a preacher of Krishna consciousness, you don't have to take your birth in a particular family or country. Sometimes devotees say, oh, you have to take your birth in a Brahmin family in India. That is not necessary. This point is clearly stated in this verse. One becomes empowered by the Lord and his devotee upon purity. And one who is empowered by the Lord and his representatives gets the ability to also preach Krishna consciousness. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when people would come to see him, he would embrace everyone, and by this embrace, he would transmit the spiritual current by which they would also become preachers of Krishna consciousness. Being thus empowered, they would return to their own village, always chanting the holy name of Krishna. and sometimes laughing, crying, and dancing. When you're chanting the holy names of Krishna, you feel like laughing, crying, and dancing. When devotees dance in kirtan, this is not some external exhibition to attract some following. Those who cannot dance, when they come to the temple, they say, oh, this dancing is just a show. They have this theory in English called grapes are sour. Because you cannot relish it, you think, you just fall find the other person. So the materialists, because they are so full of material desires, they don't feel like dancing when they hear the holy name. And therefore, when they see others who are dancing, they say, oh, this is just artificial. This is just a show. But one who's sincerely chanting, he automatically feels like dancing. These are the symptoms of ecstasy that the devotee exhibits as he relishes the holy name. Of course, we don't want to artificially start shedding tears to the eyes to get some flattery that we are very advanced. Like Bhakti Siddhanta Ji in his commentary specifically said that we should not imitate Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was chanting 3 lakh times a day, but that doesn't mean we should all withdraw ourselves to secluded places and we begin to chant the holy name. No. We cannot imitate Haridas Thakur. If we try to imitate Haridas Thakur, we will become a slave of Maya Devi. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada talks about in 1975, there was once a devotee, an African devotee. He came from Kenya and he met Prabhupada in Bombay and he was insisting with Prabhupada that he get the permission to chant and stay in a lonely, secluded place. And Prabhupada went on telling him, no, you must be with devotees. He said, no, I want to be alone. Anyway, what could Prabhupada do? So Prabhupada gave him the permission and he went and built a hut in Mayapur. And after a few days, the devotee was lost and nobody has ever seen him since then. So we do not artificially imitate Haridas Thakur by withdrawing ourselves to a secluded place. The devotee stays in the association of other devotees and executes devotional service. The spiritual association enlivens one. The spiritual association is like fresh air. The spiritual association helps one to proceed with the process of devotional service. So we should not avoid spiritual association. Sometimes we see that devotees are always avoiding spiritual association. When it's class, they'll go and sit alone in one corner. When it's kirtan, they will stand in one corner like a half-dead person. When it's prasadam time, they'll go when everybody else has eaten. So these are very weak symptoms. I discussed these symptoms about 10 days ago when I gave a class from Chaitanya Charitamrita. The devotee is anxious to associate with others. We are anxious to associate with Vaishnavas. And we are anxious to glorify Vaishnavas. Not that we are always criticizing Vaishnavas. Not that we are going and telling stories of Vaishnavas to the karmis. This is another weakness that we see that devotees are developing. They want to live with devotees and talk about devotees with the karmis. How do you expect the karmi who doesn't bow down before the deity, who doesn't glorify the Lord, to appreciate the devotees? The karmi automatically is thinking that every devotee in the Hare Krishna land is a madman. Because otherwise he would also take to spiritual life. And then if we go and criticize devotees to these karmis, this is the biggest offense we are committing at the feet of the Lord. By acting this way, we are totally disqualifying ourselves from ever getting the mercy of the Guru and Krishna. When you criticize the Vaishnavas to karmis, this is the biggest offense that you can commit at the chanting of the holy name. It is clearly stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhau Janma Kare Yadi Shravana Kirtana Tabutana Paya Krishna Pade Prema Dhana. That if you go on chanting and you commit the 10 offenses, then you will not be able to develop love of God. So the 10 offenses must be avoided. And the first offense is to blaspheme those who have dedicated their life for propagating the holy mission of the Lord. So if you're blaspheming those who have dedicated their life for propagate the mission of the Lord to karmis, then you are also a karmi. You may be behaving like a devotee, but actually you're worse than a karmi. Because at least a karmi is publicly showing that he's a karmi. But you are making a show that you're a devotee and you're acting worse than a karmi. So we have to be very careful in how we deal with Vaishnavas and who we are taking shelter of. We are not in this Krishna conscious movement to externally appear like a devotee and take shelter of karmis. We are here to take shelter of Krishna and his representatives. So this philosophy of going and talking to karmis must be stopped. Otherwise, publicly admit that you're not a devotee and go back to your karmi dress. We are not anxious to have devotees in devotee dress who don't want to be in their hearts a devotee. Don't make a show of being a devotee and act like a karmi. It's better to act like a karmi, better to make a show of a karmi and then to act like a karmi, rather than to make a show of a devotee and act like a karmi. These empowered people used to request everyone and anyone, whoever they saw, to chant the holy name of Krishna. In this way, all the villagers would also become devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Simply by seeing such empowered individuals, people from different villages would become like them by their merciful glance. When these individuals returned to the villages, they also converted others to devotees. Whenever others came to see them, they were also converted. In this way, all those men and women from one village to another, all the people of South India became devotees. Thus, many hundreds of people became Vaishnavas when they passed the Lord on the way and embraced him. In whatever village Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed to accept alms, many people came to see him. A devotee is a professional beggar. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was begging. Once somebody had come to see Prabhupada in Bombay, and Prabhupada said, "We are professional beggars." So here we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in whichever village he went to, but he was also accepting alms. He was also getting donations. When you're begging for Krishna, you actually become humble. Begging for Krishna forces you to become humble. Sometimes devotees say, "But I have never begged in my life." That means they're so proud of their false ego. If you haven't begged, now go and beg. Go and beg for the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna. And with their mercy, you will be able to go and beg from others. So to beg is one of the qualities by which one spiritually advances. Because when you're begging on behalf of Krishna, you're forced to be humble. When you're begging on behalf of Krishna, you're forced to depend upon Krishna, because nobody can force anyone to give. But you're depending upon Krishna, then by that dependence on Krishna, Krishna will inspire the other individual to donate. So to beg for Krishna is one of our transcendental services. By the mercy of the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone became a first-class devotee. Later they became teachers of spiritual masters and liberated the entire world. So this is our business, to liberate the entire world. And we will only be able to liberate the entire world if we take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa Goswami said, "Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate." You are the most merciful incarnation. So he is the most merciful incarnation. And if we take shelter of this most merciful incarnation, then we will also be empowered to preach Krishna consciousness and liberate the entire world, which is our real mission. Hare Krishna.
Wow, what is powerful presentation. Very good. Thank you, Krishna Kirtan, for selecting such a nice topic.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj Chakravarti Prabhu and his team selected this lecture. So we are thankful to him for selecting such an amazing lecture. We are also thankful to His Grace Chakravarti Prabhu for his valuable time and sharing deep insights about Maharaj. And thankful to Bhakti Prema Maharaj to inspire all of us for this wonderful session, so that we can hear from all our spiritual masters and know how important role they played in our spiritual lives.
If you want to become fast tomorrow's exam, you should hear again in YouTube this lecture. Tomorrow will be exam on this subject. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Guru Maharaj ki jai. His Grace Chakravarti Prabhu ki jai. Shravada Gaur Bhakti Vrinda ki jai.
Maharaj ki